Do walks with your dog look a lot like this? But you wish they looked a little bit more like this? Well, lucky for you, that's exactly what we're teaching in today's video. Come on, Scout. This is my foster dog, Crash, and as you saw a minute ago, he really likes to pull on the leash. So today we're gonna teach him the command heel. All you're gonna need is your dog's favorite treats. For Crash, I'm quite literally just using his kibble, because as you can see, he's very excited for just his kibble. But do what your dog loves, anything that motivates them. You're also gonna want a leash. This is a hands-free leash, and then some training equipment. I have him attached to a prong collar. If your dog is not properly conditioned to a prong collar, go watch my last video. But now that he's conditioned to the prong collar, we get to jump right into some heeling stuff. Do you want your dog to heel on the left side or the right side? For me, that's gonna be the left. You're also gonna wanna pick a command. I'm gonna say heel. The very first game we're gonna play is right turn, which is quite literally me just making a series of right turns. The goal in this exercise is to get him following my lead and turning with me. Now in the very beginning, I'm really not gonna worry about treats because you're gonna notice it takes a lot of turning. And when you have to turn and say the command and apply leash pressure and then add treats, you're gonna notice it's very overwhelming. So let's simplify it. Let's just do a series of right turns until we get into a good flow state, and then we'll start to incorporate some treats. I'm gonna say the command, apply leash pressure, and just start walking. Heel. If I see him go out in front of me, heel. I do the exact same thing. So once I see that speed change and he starts to speed up a little bit, heel, apply leash pressure, and keep walking. What do you do when your dog goes to the wrong side? You put him back on the correct side by steering him. You see, your leash is your reins, right? When you're riding a horse, you steer your horse with your reins. When you're walking your dog, you steer your dog with your leash. This is your reins. So anytime your dog veers over this way, veers over on this side, make sure you're steering them back to the correct position with your leash pressure. Heel. If I can turn and he turns with me, that's the best opportunity to start to add some treats, except when he goes to the wrong side. Heel, applying leash pressure. Now he's on the correct side. He's going to this side because that's where the treats are. So another quick tip for you, put your treat pouch on the side your dog is on, so that way they're more likely to stay on that side. There, he turned with me, he stayed on the correct side, and now he gets a treat. I'm also rewarding with my left hand, which is the same side my dog is on. A lot of people want to do this. They grab the treats with the right hand, and look what instantly happens. He comes out, you have to chew them, sir. You have to chew the treats. What ends up happening is it makes your dog want to come out in front to meet the treat. And we're just gonna keep doing these right turns. You're gonna get really dizzy here. There's just no way around it. So when you practice this game, I don't want you to do it at a park. I don't want you to do it where there's a bunch of distractions of people and dogs around. I want you to do this heel in an environment that is as controlled as you can make it. So a good example is gonna be in your hallway. You can do a series of right turns. In your driveway, in your backyard, in your front yard. I want you to practice these right turns and all the games you're gonna learn today in an environment you can control. If I have a bunch of distractions around me right now, he's not gonna be as successful as he is right now. But right now, I am the most interesting thing around us, so he's a lot more likely to stay in tune with the game. Now, eventually, we're gonna apply this stuff when we go to a park, when we go to take our dog to the store, but that's all in good time. When you're teaching the foundation stuff, you wanna make sure that your dog is not super distracted in their environment. Good boy. Good. Okie dokie, let's go on to game number 2. Now we've mastered the right turns. How do I know I've mastered that? Because when I turn right, he's following my lead. So now we're gonna go on to left turns. Now this one's a little trickier. You go for the turn and then you bump in, and you end up running into your dog. So this is what's gonna teach them how to be really in tune with this left leg. When it goes right, when it goes left, he's really gotta be aware of my body and where it's going. So here's how we're gonna teach it. As I'm walking and I notice a speed change, he starts to get a little pep in his step and speed up a little bit, I'm gonna say the command, heel. I'm gonna apply leash pressure backwards. That's gonna stop his forward momentum. So my leash goes backward to make him slow down, and then it gives me the space to turn immediately into him. Let me show you again. As I'm walking, speed change, heel, leash backwards, turn into the dog. And you don't necessarily have to wait, heel, till your dog's going to speed up, because majority of the time your dog just already doesn't know how to get out of your way. This is what's teaching them how to get out of the way. And now look, he's very aware of my body, giving me that space to do an about turn right into him. And I don't even need to say the command. Good boy. At this point, that's when you can start incorporating treats. Heel. And you'll notice that I am releasing the pressure, heel, as soon as he's out of my way. I'm just using my leash to put the brakes on him, help him slow down, and then I let go of it. Heel. Good. If you keep your leash like this, you're gonna get a dog that's very confused. Some dogs even jump up, some dogs even start to bite at the leash. The key to walking your dog is keeping slack. There should be what we call as a J in your leash at all times. See that pretty little J? That's what you're looking for. But what I don't wanna see is you holding your dog like this. This is not teaching them to heel. This is dragging them along for the walk and keeping them at your side. Nobody's learning anything. Nice and relaxed. Only apply that leash pressure to teach them how to get out of your way or how to follow your lead. Heel. Now that I've done a couple of turns, he's a lot more aware of my body. Good. And he's heeling further back. Notice we're still doing this in the same little area. We're getting in reps and we're making sure that we are mastering one skill at a time. Heel. So now we've mastered right turns. We've mastered left turns. The third and final exercise we're gonna teach is how to teach our dog to stop when we stop. I'm gonna be utilizing the sit command for this. So every time I come to a stop, I'm gonna say the command, I'm gonna pull up on my leash until my dog's butt hits the floor, and then I'm gonna relax that leash pressure. So that way they learn when I stop, you go into a sit. Anytime he does sit, you know what to do. You add a reward, of course. Let's see what it looks like. Sit. Good. Now, some dogs are gonna get super confused the first time you pull up on your leash. That's okay. Some dogs need a little processing time, so I want you to keep that pressure there until their butt hits the floor. If they're too confused, you can also show them the treat, sit, and then lure with your treat. This is important to apply the leash pressure. A lot of people want to skip the leash pressure part of this and just rely on treats. What ends up happening is you then rely on treats to get your dog into the sit, and I don't want you to smell like dog food for the rest of your life. We're eventually gonna get away from this stuff. So if you find yourself in a position where your dog doesn't want to sit, if we teach them leash pressure means it's not optional, you have to, you're always gonna have that leash on your dog when you take them out and about, so you're always gonna have a way to communicate to them. So leash pressure up means put your butt down. If they're really, really confused, let's say you're doing this and they're not giving you any sit, you can also pull up on your leash, push down on the booty, release all the pressure, good boy. And you might need to make a whole session just on getting them used to sitting with leash pressure. Sit. As soon as his butt hits the floor, whoops, back it up with the snacky. Ideally out of your hand and not on the ground. Sit. Good. Heel. Sit. Sit. All right, now I've done back-to-back reps, sit with leash pressure. Let's test him. Let's see if I can say sit and get a really good clean sit at my side without actually having to apply leash pressure. Heel. Sit. So that's the end goal. I didn't need to use the treat lure, and I also didn't need to use the leash pressure, but you gotta make sure that you do reps to make it really clear. So now, if he does come out of this position, sit, I can fall back to applying leash pressure to reset him back into that sit stay. But he's showing me that he's got a good idea of it. Heel, sit, good. He's not coming out in front of me, he's stopping when I stop. What I like to do with my dogs is every time they sit at my side, I reward them. What ends up happening is they start to do an auto sit. Heel. He's just picked up on the pattern of that lady stops and I just know I get treats if I sit. I love that kind of pattern. Those are all three games. You got your right turns, your left turns, and your stop and sit. So what is the next step? Now we're gonna put all three of those together. But you'll notice I've not changed up my environment. I'm going to nail down these three exercises on this little runway pad. For you, it might be your hallway, it might be your driveway, it might be your backyard. I really want you to make sure that your dog is very in tune with your body language when you turn, when you stop, before we start to apply this on an actual walk. If you guys are new here and didn't know, Crash is actually gonna be up for adoption after this training series. So if you guys are interested in adopting him, can you imagine if you just got a fully trained dog by a professional? It's what dreams are made of. So stay tuned, he'll be up for your adoption very soon. Heel. Now what's gonna happen when we change the environment? All of this is gonna go out the window and it's almost gonna be like you're starting from ground zero. But that's why we spend so much time teaching the leash pressure, so that way the dog understands once we start to take on these different environments, the thing that is consistent is leash pressure up means put your butt down. Leash pressure backwards means get out of the way. Leash pressure forwards means follow their lead. This is gonna be the consistent thing we're gonna apply in any environment when we go for our walks. Now, when you can get to a point with your dog where they are turning with you, getting out of your way, and auto sitting, I think it's time to go to the next step. Let's head on down the road. Okay, we've changed locations, but not very far. I'm quite literally just a little further, probably 100 yards from the spot I just was practicing. Make sure that you nail down these exercises in your driveway and then start to make it a little bit more difficult. Don't go for a walk around the block just yet. Instead, go to the neighbor's house and back, and then the stop sign and back, and gradually build further and further, all while practicing these 3 games. You'll notice he's not at all heeling with me because now we've changed up the location. First step, right turns. Heel. Heel. See how just being somewhere new's got them all excited? Heel. We're on the gravel road. There's the grass over there. Good. If your dog gives you eye contact, give him all the snackies. Heel. But just the little subtle change in locations changes the whole picture for your dog. So you've got to apply these 3 steps everywhere you go. All right, let's incorporate some left turns. Heel. Heel. All right, let's throw in some sits. Sit. Heel. Sit. Look how much better. And again, if they're giving you eye contact, that's the end goal here, especially if you have a reactive dog. What ends up happening with reactive dogs is they make eye contact with another dog, they're locked, they're loaded, and then the explosion happens. So if we can make sure that their eyes stay up on here, you're gonna avoid a lot of those scenarios where there's the confrontational dog on the other side of the street just looking for a fight. He's not gonna fall for it because he's more concerned with me and less concerned with his surroundings. Okay, so we did it on the gravel. Let's try it on some grass, because you know what happens on grass? They love to sniff. They love to sniff the grass, which makes heeling really difficult. Now, we're not gonna say you could never sniff ever, but what I teach my dogs is when we're heeling, we're not sniffing the ground. When we're heeling, your attention and focus is up here on me. This is our working command. If I'm just loose leash walking with him, I'll take this off, give him a free cue, and he can sniff and he can potty and he can do whatever he wants because he's been released from work. He's not working right now. We changed the location just a little bit. We changed the distraction level, and now he's less focused on me and more focused on everything going around him. So what are we gonna do? The 3 games. Let's start with right turns, heel. Good. If their nose goes towards the ground, I'm gonna heel, apply leash pressure up to keep their head up. Heel. Good. The more he looks up at me, the more snackies he gets. Heel. If you don't care if your dog sniffs, that's great for you. For me, it impedes on the walk and the flow of the walk. Do you need to poop? Because you're being real sassy right now. Now, we've been doing this for, I don't know, 10-ish minutes, 15-ish minutes or so. So I think I'm starting to see him break down a little bit. We've done a lot of training in a short amount of time. Let's give him a little brain break. A brain break is just gonna be some time where I let him sniff, I let him go potty. If you start to notice your dog being sassy or making a lot of mistakes, it could just be they're starting to wear out mentally. What? There's literally nothing. This is what I mean. He starts to get a little sassy when he gets tired, so let's give him a little brain break. Be right back. Now, just because we have some free time does not mean he's allowed to pull. If he starts to pull me, I'm gonna go back to saying no and applying my leash pressure and making sure that he at least stays in my bubble. Good potty. I think that's why he got a little sassy. He just had to go tinkle. Okay, the poop break is over. Heel. Good man. Goes out in front of me, gonna steer him where he needs to be. Heel. Steering him. Sit. I want him sitting here, not here. Try that again. Heel. See, with the treat pouch being here, that's why he's like inching out in front of me. Let's put the treat pouch behind me so we don't have this problem. I don't want him obsessing over the treats. So if I look weird and I have a tail, and now you know why. Heel. Sit. That's where I want you. Good. Okay, I think that was a really good session. Let's wrap it up. Here's how we're gonna end it. I wanna make sure that I release him from working mode. So, sit, unclip my leash here, free. And now I've initiated loose leash walking time. You can be in front of me, you can sniff, you can explore. So make sure that you're saying heel to start working mode, and then release them with your free command, or okay, or break, or whatever you wanna say. And that's it, folks. Those are gonna be the 3 games I recommend to start to teach your dog heel. Again, I just did this at my property. You don't have to go anywhere, and although it feels kind of boring, I promise this is gonna be equally as exhausting as that walk where your dog's pulling you the entire way. I'd recommend staying at home for a minimum of a week. But really what it comes down to is don't move on to the next step. Don't make your environment more distracting until your dog is having success. Train this for about 10 to 20 minutes. You can do this twice a day, and if your dog's pretty food motivated, just use their kibble. If not, you can use some really high value treats. If your dog isn't that food motivated, I actually recommend skipping breakfast completely and then doing an afternoon or evening training session with some training treats. That'll help to build some of their appetite. Treats are gonna be that quick and easy way to communicate, yes, you've done the right thing. So build a little food motivation in your dog, and you're gonna see results really quickly. If you guys aren't subscribed, what the heck are you doing? Make sure you're subscribed. These videos are quite literally my private lessons. I am showing you step by step how I train my clients to train your dog, and even better, you get to watch Crash improve every single week. You can follow along on Instagram. I post on there regularly. That is @trainingwilddogs, and same thing for TikTok. If this is the very first video you're seeing, go back to the very first one where I got Crash from the shelter. You're never gonna guess what his name used to be. It was not cute, I promise. In the next video, we're gonna work on jumping and getting off of furniture, because this boy is a madman. Good luck and happy training.